Welcome back, everyone. We're diving into something pretty intriguing today.
Oh, yeah.
Signs and symbols.
Absolutely.
And to get into all this, we're using this really unique source material.
Okay.
A series of lectures from a spiritual school called LEMDU.
Interesting.
It stands for Luz en Movimiento de Unidad.
Okay, cool.
And they're exploring this captivating concept that the universe and these spiritual masters are communicating with us, but through a subtle language of signs and symbols.
Oh, wow.
It's going to be fascinating. We're going to cover some really cool topics,
Awesome.
like how to interpret recurring numbers,
Okay.
the power of drawing symbols, and we'll even touch a little bit on quantum magic and manifestation.
I'm intrigued already.
Yeah, me too. So one thing that I found really fascinating about LEMDU's approach is that they really emphasize personalization.
Okay.
It's not about finding some universal dictionary of symbols. It's more about understanding how these signs and symbols resonate with your individual journey.
That's interesting, yeah, because it takes it away from being this kind of fixed, static interpretation, and it makes it about, as you say, the individual's experience.
Exactly. And it makes you think about how each symbol might hold different meanings for different people. But before we get too far, maybe we should sort of define our terms here.
Yeah, good point.
What's the difference between a sign and a symbol in this context?
Okay, so think of it this way.
Okay.
Signs are like little cues or intuitive nudges,
Yeah.
like whispers from the universe,
Right.
guiding your thoughts, feelings, and actions.
Interesting.
And then symbols are more like keys.
Oh, okay.
They unlock these deeper levels of consciousness and understanding, and they often hold a much richer, more layered meaning.
So let's say I keep seeing the number 11 everywhere.
Okay, yeah.
Would that be a sign or a symbol or both?
That's a great example. In LEMDU's teachings, seeing 11 repeatedly, especially if you feel something with it, or if it coincides with some significant events, that could definitely be a sign. Like the universe is trying to get your attention.
Right.
Now, 11 itself is also considered a symbol, often connected with things like intuition, spiritual awakening, new beginnings.
Interesting.
So the meaning gets deeper when you connect the sign, the 11 showing up all the time.
Right.
With the potential symbolism of the number.
So it's like the sign is the alert and the symbol is the actual message.
Precisely.
Okay, so then how do we decipher these messages?
LEMDU stresses introspection.
Okay.
They say use meditation, visualization,
Yeah.
and really just tune into your intuition.
Okay.
They believe that those practices can help you connect with the personal meaning of the symbols.
Interesting.
One of their teachers, Master Salomon, he specialized in symbols.
Okay.
He was a big proponent of this idea of looking inward for answers.
Now, were there any other LEMDU teachers who were really focused on this language of signs and symbols?
Definitely, yeah.
Okay.
So there's Master Antar, who gets into this really intriguing concept called quantum magic.
Wait, hold on. Quantum magic?
Yeah.
That sounds kind of out there.
It does, right?
A little bit.
So he suggests that symbols aren't just messages. They're also tools for manifestation.
Okay. How does that work?
Well, Master Antar connects it to quantum mechanics.
Okay.
That idea that just by observing something, you can influence reality at a subatomic level.
Yeah.
So he proposes that focusing your intention on a symbol can actually help bring about your desired outcomes.
Wow. So it's not just about interpreting the messages. It's also about using the symbols to manifest.
Exactly. It's about recognizing the power within the symbols and using them for personal growth and transformation.
That's really fascinating. What are some other examples of how these signs and symbols might show up in our lives, according to LEMDU?
Well, they talk a lot about the significance of recurring patterns.
Okay.
Like not just seeing the same numbers over and over again,
Right.
but also recurring dreams.
Okay.
Or even encountering the same animal over and over again.
Interesting.
Master Salomon, he actually encourages people to draw symbols from their dreams.
Oh, wow.
He says it helps unlock their energy and knowledge.
So if I keep dreaming about a labyrinth, I should try drawing it.
Exactly. It's about tapping into that symbolic language of your dreams.
Wow.
And using it for guidance and even problem solving.
This makes me think about ancient manuscripts,
Yeah.
like the Voynich manuscript,
Uh-huh.
that's full of all these unknown symbols.
Yeah, exactly.
Could that be full of knowledge that we just haven't figured out how to decode yet?
That's a great point. It really highlights this idea that we're potentially surrounded by all of these hidden messages. The key is just learning to see them and understand them.
So we've talked about Master Salomon and Master Antar.
Yeah.
Are there any other masters in LMDU who are really focused on symbols and interpretation?
Oh, absolutely. There's Master Enoch, also known as Archangel Metatron. He's considered the master of sacral geometry.
Wait, what's sacred geometry?
Oh, it's fascinating. It explores the underlying patterns and mathematical ratios found in nature and creation.
Oh, okay.
Master Enoch believed that these patterns and ratios are like symbols and codes that can help us understand the divine order of the universe.
So it's not just about personal interpretation.
Yeah.
It's also about recognizing these underlying patterns that govern reality.
Precisely. Sacred geometry allows us to see the interconnectedness of everything and explore the deeper symbolism in, like, the fabric of the cosmos.
So cool. And what about Master Jesus?
Oh, yeah. Definitely.
His teachings are full of symbolism too, right?
Absolutely. Like light is a central symbol in his message, right? Yeah. It represents knowledge, truth, spiritual awakening. It's a reminder that we're all on this quest to find the light within ourselves and in the world around us.
And in the context of LEMDU, I guess that search for light could be seen as like understanding those spiritual signals, right?
Exactly.
Recognizing that divine presence within us.
Yeah, it's about seeking understanding, enlightenment, and ultimately unification with the divine.
Okay, so with all this talk about interpretation, how do we know we're on the right track? Like, what if we're misinterpreting these signs and symbols, just projecting our own desires or anxieties onto them?
It's a good question, and LMDU acknowledges that process. They offer a few pieces of guidance. First, pay attention to your emotions and sensations when you encounter a symbol. You know, does it evoke peace, excitement, unease? Your emotional response can offer clues to its meaning for you.
So it's not just about intellectual understanding.
Right.
It's also about that feeling, that intuitive resonance.
Exactly. And then secondly, look for recurring patterns. If a symbol or a sign keeps popping up in different ways, it's probably trying to tell you something. And finally, and this is maybe the most important part, trust your intuition. That inner voice often knows a lot more than we realize.
It sounds like learning a new language almost.
Yeah, it is.
We might need a guide or a teacher to help us grasp the basics.
It's true.
LEMDU even suggests seeking guidance from spiritual teachers or from relevant books to help decipher this language of symbols.
Absolutely. But the key is to trust the process. Understand that these signals, they appear at the right time for our growth. It's a journey of discovery and understanding.
It's like learning to read the universe's love letters to us, one symbol at a time.
I love that.
This is making me think about all the signs and symbols I've seen in my own life and what they might mean.
Yeah, I think that's the beauty of this whole deep dive. It encourages us to look at our experiences through a new lens and to see these like hidden meanings that might be guiding us.
Yeah, it's inspiring me to pay more attention, trust my intuition, and see the world as this tapestry of symbols just waiting to be decoded.
I love that.
This has been an incredible start to our exploration of signs and symbols.
Yeah, absolutely.
I can't wait to see what other insights we uncover as we continue our deep dive.
Me too. There's so much more to explore, and I'm excited to see how these teachings can help us understand ourselves and the world around us on a deeper level.
Well, let's get into it.
Okay, awesome.
Okay, so we've gotten to signs and symbols. Even touched on this quantum magic concept. Where do numbers fit into all of this? I feel like numerology is like often mentioned in spiritual circles, but never really explained well.
Yeah, it's a bit mysterious. So LEMDU doesn't claim to have like all the answers on numerology, but they did mention some interesting stuff. They often talk about master numbers.
Oh yeah, master numbers.
Yeah, you know, the double-digit numbers with repeating digits.
Right, like 11, 22, 33.
Exactly.
What makes them so special?
Well, according to a lot of spiritual traditions and LMDU's teachings too, these master numbers, they carry a higher vibrational frequency. They're seen as powerful signals from the universe or our spiritual guides.
So it's not just about seeing the same number a bunch of times. It's also about the specific energy of that number itself.
Exactly. And LEMDU actually takes it a step further. They suggest that any number sequence can have a deeper meaning.
Wow, really?
Yeah, they even recommend a book called Angel Numbers 101 by Doreen Virtue as a resource for exploring those meanings.
So like we're surrounded by this secret numerical code.
Kinda, yeah. It's like learning a new language, a language of numbers that can give us insights and guidance. They even gave an example of using this book to interpret really long number sequences.
Wow.
It's amazing how even something as simple as a string of numbers can have a deeper meaning.
It makes you wonder if, like, our phone numbers or addresses have a deeper significance too.
Yeah. Like, what if everything means something?
Totally. But speaking of guidance,
yeah,
why is it so important to understand this whole language of signs and symbols in the first place?
So LEMDU believes it can provide invaluable guidance on our spiritual journey.
Okay.
It's about recognizing that we're not just physical beings in a material world.
Right.
We're also spiritual beings on a path of growth.
It helps us connect to that deeper part of ourselves.
Exactly. And it can help us make sense of everything that's happening in our lives. When we start seeing the signs and symbols, we can see patterns and understand the deeper meaning.
Instead of feeling like life is just random.
Yeah, exactly. It brings a sense of purpose even to the difficult stuff.
So we're not alone.
Right. It can also help us make better decisions. When we're tuned in to those signs and symbols, we can tap into a higher wisdom.
Okay.
And make choices that align with our soul's purpose.
It's like having a cosmic GPS.
I love that. A cosmic GPS, exactly.
But it can feel overwhelming too, right?
Well, for sure.
How do we know if we're interpreting things the right way?
That's where discernment comes in.
Okay.
LEMDU really stresses that.
Yeah.
We have to learn to tell if a message is coming from a higher source or if it's just our own fears and desires.
Okay, so how do we develop that discern? What are some steps we can take?
One big one is paying attention to our intuition.
Okay.
They say spend time in quiet reflection, meditation, journaling. Connect with that inner voice.
Create space for that little whisper of wisdom.
Exactly. It's also about paying attention to our emotional responses to signs and symbols.
Okay.
If something triggers a negative feeling, that's worth looking into to see if it's affecting your interpretation.
It sounds like a continuous process.
Yeah, definitely. It's like honing a skill, a journey of learning and refining.
And it takes patience.
Absolutely. And self-compassion.
Yeah.
We won't always get it right.
Right.
But the important thing is to stay curious.
Okay.
Keep exploring and trust that the universe has our back.
That's reassuring.
Yeah.
What if we're just not seeing any signs or symbols? What if the universe feels silent?
Well, LMDU says that the universe is always communicating.
Okay.
But we're not always listening.
Oh, I see.
Sometimes we're too distracted,
Yeah.
Too caught up in our own heads.
Right. We're missing the forest for the trees.
Exactly. It's like having a phone with bad reception.
Yeah.
The message is there, but we need a better connection to get it.
This makes me think about those times when we feel lost or unsure of where we're going.
Yeah.
Maybe those are the times we need to tune into the signs and symbols the most.
I think you're right. When we feel lost or disconnected, it might be because we've lost touch with our inner guidance system.
Okay.
And those are the times when it's most important to create that space for reflection.
Right.
To quiet the mind and listen to that wisdom that's always there.
We're never truly alone.
Exactly. There's always guidance available.
We just have to be open to it.
Yeah, it's about trust and surrendering to that wisdom.
This is really eye-opening.
It is, isn't it?
It's changing how I see the world.
I'm glad to hear that.
But it can still feel a bit daunting.
Yeah, I get that.
Like, where do we even begin to decode all this?
That's a great question.
Are there any practical things our listeners...
Oh, yeah, definitely.
...to start understanding the signs and symbols in their own lives?
First, I'd say pay attention to your dreams.
Okay.
Keep a dream journal by your bed. Write down any symbols or recurring themes that stand out to you. Don't worry about interpreting them right away.
Okay.
Just observe and record.
So be a detective of our own subconscious.
Exactly. Then start paying attention to your surroundings.
Okay.
Like, notice any repeating numbers, any animal sightings, or just unusual occurrences.
Interesting.
Again, just observe.
Yeah.
Make a note of anything that feels significant.
Yeah, so we're being more mindful.
Right. And finally, don't forget about meditation.
Okay.
Spend some time each day quieting your mind.
Yeah.
Connect with your intuition. Ask for guidance and clarity.
Okay.
And be open to the answers that come.
Like opening up a channel.
Exactly. Create a space for the universe to talk to you.
Yeah, let that wisdom flow.
That's a beautiful way to put it.
So it's a process.
It is.
Be patient.
Yeah.
Trust the journey. The more you practice, the better you'll get at it.
Absolutely. It's like any skill. The rewards are huge.
Yeah.
Understanding this language can lead to a deeper understanding of yourself.
Yeah.
Your purpose and how everything is connected.
It's like unlocking a treasure map.
I love that. A treasure map to a more meaningful life.
This has been such an interesting conversation.
It has, hasn't it?
It feels like we've only scratched the surface.
Me too. There's so much more to explore.
Yeah.
And I'm excited to see where it takes us. It's like we've got this amazing map, full of symbols and secret codes, but learning to read it is a lifelong journey.
It really is. And it takes patience.
Oh, for sure.
Humility.
Right.
And a good amount of self-awareness.
Definitely.
It's easy to get caught up in our own interpretations and miss the bigger picture.
That's so true. And LEMDU actually warns against getting too rigid in our interpretations.
Oh, interesting.
They say it's important to stay open to new perspectives and to be willing to let go of interpretations that aren't serving us anymore.
So we have to hold our interpretations lightly.
Yeah.
Recognizing that they can change over time.
Exactly. It's about knowing that we don't have all the answers.
Right.
And being open to learning and growing.
This makes me think about how Master Solomon talked about tapping into our intuition. It seems like intuition is really important for understanding these messages.
Absolutely. Intuition is like our inner compass,
Yeah.
It guides us towards truth. But even with a strong intuition, it's still possible to misinterpret things or project our own desires onto those signs and symbols.
So how do we avoid that? How can we make sure we're interpreting things accurately?
LEMDU suggests a few things.
Okay.
First, pay attention to how you feel when you encounter a sign or a symbol.
Okay.
Are you feeling peace, excitement, or maybe fear, anxiety? Your emotional response can tell you a lot about what it means for you.
So if a symbol triggers a negative emotion,
yeah,
it might be a sign to pause and reflect.
Exactly. It might be pointing to a limiting belief or an unresolved issue that needs your attention.
That's so interesting.
Yeah.
It's like those signs and symbols are mirrors reflecting back parts of ourselves that we might not be aware of.
Exactly. And when you pay attention to those reflections, you can really learn about yourself and figure out where you need to grow or heal.
This whole process of interpreting signs and symbols can be really transformative.
It really can. It's about understanding yourself.
Yeah.
Your place in the universe and how everything is connected.
But what about those times when we feel lost?
Yeah.
Unsure of where we're going? What if we don't see any clear signs or symbols to guide us?
LEMDU reminds us that the universe is always communicating.
Okay.
But we're not always tuned in.
It's like trying to listen to a radio station.
Yeah, exactly.
But we're on the wrong frequency.
Right. We have to align ourselves with that frequency of wisdom and guidance.
So we need to create space for stillness.
Yes.
And silence.
Quiet the external noise and the chatter in our minds, then we can hear those whispers of intuition and inspiration.
We have to clear out the static to get the message.
That's a great way to put it. And remember, even when you feel lost, those feelings can be signs too.
Oh, interesting.
They can prompt us to look inward for guidance.
So every experience, even the hard ones, can teach us something.
Exactly. Every step we take, even the wrong turns, leads us closer to where we're supposed to be.
This has been such an insightful conversation.
It has been.
I have a whole new appreciation for signs and symbols.
I'm so glad.
And how they can guide us.
Remember, the universe is always talking. Are you listening?
That's a great question for all of us to think about.
It is.
Thank you so much for sharing your wisdom with us today.
It was my pleasure, truly.
May your journey be filled with wonder and discovery.
And yours as well.
And to all our listeners, thank you for joining us on this deep dive into the world of signs and symbols.
Until next time.